So thank you for coming and thank you for accepting my invitation and
That's okay.
allowing me to talk with you. Yeah.
That's okay. No, I'm more than welcome to.
So can you introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, of course I can. Hi everyone, I'm Becca and I have the page Best Life with Becca, and I'm a positive psychology wellness coach.
You're from?
I'm from the UK, so I'm from London, England.
Okay. So positive wellness coach, positive psychology
Yes,
wellness coach.
yes.
So so you will be helping people to come out from their negative mindset.
Exactly, yeah. So kind of positive psychology looks at reframing your mindset and trying to look at a more positive outlook on life and to help envision you to be more successful and happy. And the wellness aspect looks at two parts. So both of them are interconnected. So it looks at your mindset and it also looks at your physical body as well. So it's really important to work on the both of them and not just look at, with well-being, you can look very closely at physical improvements. If you go to the gym, you grow your muscles, you can see those results, but you have to remember that, your mind is also a very important organ and you've got to look after that just as much. And we've got to be careful with our what we say to ourselves, because if we say a lot of negative things to ourselves, then it's actually sort of having that detrimental effect on our mental health, really. So we've got to be careful and really try and boost ourselves up and be happy and try and affirm positive things to ourselves rather than put ourselves down. So that's kind of my aim, is to really coach people to retrain their way of thinking and their mindset, and just looking at well-being as an encompassed thing, because I'm very into my sports and fitness. So I'll push people in and show people my way that I improve my own fitness, but also give that coaching aspect to improve their mental health and their mindset, and hopefully have a positive and happy life. That's what we want, hey?
So uh, exercise, workout helps them to be positive.
So, I mean, when I say fitness, everyone has their own kind of expectations and own abilities. So, it doesn't have to be, I think when people think, oh, fitness, they think, oh gosh, it has to be a sprint, it has to be a marathon, it has to be something really high impact. But, just something as simple as just going out for a short half an hour walk is also so beneficial, just to get outside, get some fresh air, just get a change of environment. And it is also great if you can get to somewhere with some greenery around you or some form of nature, because that really just helps with reducing any anxiety or depression. That actually has been shown through some research that that is a great tool. So just getting outside and doing some form of exercise. I also like to practice yoga as well. I find that really quite calming. But I also do like my high impact sports. I do like enjoy my running. So if you are an experienced person in fitness, then you can do the high impact sports. But if you're sort of a beginner, then just going out for a walk is great. It's, getting out there and getting that fresh air is going to be really beneficial.
Okay, so you will be connecting with a lot of people, different thinking people will be coming to you and explaining what the negative things
Yes,
they're experiencing in their life. What how
exactly.
will you make them to come out from their mind state, that negative mind state?
I think everyone is individual, so it's hard to kind of say one size fits all, because we've all got our own things going on in our lives. But I would just sort of, if somebody, private messaged me or wanted some coaching advice, I would kind of just delve a little bit deeper and just see what the kind of target sort of issue, I'll say, is, and then work from there. So, for example, if they're feeling a bit stressed about work, then I might say to them, can you maybe take a few more breaks in between, take a few more rest breaks? Can you make sure that you're sort of getting outside, getting that, walk in? I'd also say that, trying to eat right also really helps as well. So when you're having a lot of sort of fast food or junk food, that doesn't really help. It doesn't give you any nutrients. But when you're having like really fresh and healthy foods, that actually really helps your body, and it actually really helps your mindset as well. So just really trying to focus on what the person is going through and just working through that. So just giving them the advice I can. And I'd say always doing positive affirmations is a standard for me. And I always post them on my page every day. So that gives everybody that chance to affirm to themselves every day, you know, I am amazing, for example, because that's such a powerful statement. And by you saying that to yourself, you're already setting yourself up for a really good state of mind.
Okay. So, what is psychology?
What is psychology? Well, in a nutshell, I suppose it's the study of the mind and looking at, there's lots of different aspects. So you could look at the cognitive side, you could look at the biological aspect, you could look at, I'm trying to think now, developmental psychology. So that's, you know, from infants, like birth stage, all the way up to adulthood. There's so many different areas, but my kind of favorite area is the positive psychology, looking at reframing your mind. And I do really also like social psychology, which also looks at people's behaviors. And I just find that so interesting that we're all so unique and we all have different ways that we interact and see the world. I think that's just so cool.
So, you study human psychology and you understand social psychology. Can I say that if you become a politician, or if you if you become a social person, uh, can you understand the things that are happening in the world, and can you solve the problems easily?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that's, you know, causing a lot of unrest with people. And there's, you know, it's been a big difficulty with the pandemic. Obviously, it's affecting everyone on a global level, and it's a difficult time for everyone. I think it's, you know, it's been very uncertain. There's, you know, people like stability, and when there's change, people can find that quite difficult, and it might bring up anxious feelings inside of people. And I know in the UK, you know, it's been a difficult time. Everyone's been, you know, self-isolating and being indoors a lot. But luckily, we've had good weather, so we have actually been able to get out and do our exercise. So that's been really helpful. But I think what we need to remember is, you know, we are all one on this planet. There's no denying that we're all here together. I think if we can all do our part for, you know, the society, for the planet, if we can all just do a little bit of positivity each day, then, you know, it's going to raise that kind of vibration and that whole feel and energy for people. And it's just going to bring a better atmosphere for everyone, I suppose. So, you know, rather than so waking up and thinking, oh, I really can't be bothered today, like that's it, and just, you know, be sort of moody or angry, it's gonna, you know, if you go to work in the office, for example, and you're in that state, you're gonna sort of rub off onto other people. So this is why I say in the morning you can try and do that affirmation, try and sort of push yourself out, because, you know, we all have those down days. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm completely immune to feeling rubbish or having a bad day, because that's just not reality. But what I try and do is always push out of that and have that positive affirmation to start with. I have a gratitude journal, so I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. So already, if I wake up and think, oh, I really can't be bothered today, but then I've written down those 3 things that I'm grateful for and done my affirmation, actually it retrains your mind. And you think, actually, it can be something as simple as, well, the sun is shining today, that's amazing. Or, you know, I have the ability to see this beautiful world, or I'm so grateful that I have somewhere to live. I have fresh running water. So, you know, there's so many things to be grateful for. It just shifts your mind, and then it sort of surpluses out to the wider people around you. And that's a knock-on effect, isn't it? So then hopefully that makes a global shift if enough people do it.
So, you will be studying all the minds. I mean, the people who are working in different professions, you will be understanding the mindset and how they think and why they are thinking like that. And tell me
Mm.
the strange thing that you observed in a person that you didn't say to
um,
anybody.
Not really a strange thing. I think what we have to remember is that everyone has their own things that they're going through. So I think strange isn't really the word I'd use. I'd probably say that everyone goes through different experiences and emotions, and it's hard to quantify that. It's hard to say like, oh, well, that person felt that way, but I don't feel like that. So I think what we have to remember is that everyone sees the world differently. So me and you, we could be looking at, for example, the same plant, and you would take it in differently to how I would. And it's just, although we are all human and all one, our perceptions of the world are all different. So you might say something to me and I might take it a certain way, but you might not have intended for that. So that's why we have to be careful what we say to people, because, what our actions show is that we have to just try and be the best version of ourselves and try and be as happy as possible. Because if you're giving off that bad vibe, that person's thinking, oh no, what have I done to upset that person? When actually it might be something completely different. It might have been that they, got caught on a red light or something completely random, but that person's taking it as they've done something wrong. So I think what I'd say is making sure that each person, you sort of understand that each person is going through something, and just being as kind and compassionate as possible. So everyone has their own stuff going on. So as long as you can be understanding, then I think that that's the best way to be, really.
So even after knowing that we are not thinking like others, or we are not human beings, the perceptions of the human beings will be different. Even after knowing that, why human is connecting with other human, and why he is facing problems, even after knowing that, that person's perception is completely different from mine.
That's a hard one, to be honest. I think it's so, like I said, it is, we are all one, really. So, I might have a different perception to you, but really, we're both looking at the same flower, like I gave the example. We're both looking at the same thing. So we just have to, I'm trying to explain that we have our own ways of perceiving things, but yet we're looking at the same thing. So we just have to remember that although we might be, say, working on the same project together, you're going to have your interpretation and I'm going to have mine. So that's what makes us unique. That's what makes the human unique. But we all still have our social cues and behaviors that we all still like. You find a network and a group of people that are like-minded to you or have the same interests as you. So, for example, I have joined a running club because my interests and passions are with running. So you usually sort of gravitate and connect with people that you have similar interests in. And so that's I think that's sort of the basis of how you form friendships as well, really. So even though we see things differently, we have common interests that we can relate to. So that makes us more connected then.
What is the difference between a human being who studied human psychology and the person who didn't study the human psychology? What is the difference?
The difference, there isn't really a difference, I'd say. If you've studied psychology, maybe you have a more in-depth understanding of how, the brain works, social behaviors. It depends what area of psychology you've studied, because there's multiple different facets of psychology. So you could have gone down a criminal psychology route, you could have gone down a cyber psychology route, or social or developmental, biological. There's so many different streams of psychology, or occupational. So I think, as a general, I can't speak for everyone that studies psychology, but you have a greater understanding of social cues and different kind of functions of the brain, and that maybe gives you a bit more of a heads up compared to somebody who hasn't studied that. But it doesn't make you necessarily any really different from somebody who hasn't. You just might have a bit more understanding. It's the same if somebody studied a business degree or studied a geography or a history degree. They're going to have a greater understanding on that subject compared to myself, who hasn't studied that. So I think, yeah, maybe we have a bit more of an understanding at a greater level than somebody who hasn't.
Is it possible for me to connect with the person who thinks exactly like me on this planet?
Is it possible for you to connect with someone who thinks exactly like you? I don't think anybody ever would think exactly like you. I think we all have our, like I said, we all have our own perceptions. So even if your family as well, that you've got similar genes to you, but still you don't think exactly the same. So um, I think it is possible to connect someone like-minded, so someone who has similar goals, similar things that you're interested in. That's the case. And like I said before, in most cases you'll find friendship groups that way, or a partner, or people that you gravitate towards because of that goal, interest, or like-mindedness. You'll be so similar in that sense, but your brain will never be the same as theirs. So it is interesting though. It's a good question. I like that.
So why still human is trying to connect with other human and he's unable to connect with other human for a long time? If there may be similarities, but the connection, the traveling, a lot of people are still getting disconnected after getting connected because some reasons are some similar things, or they are getting connected. After some time, they are getting disconnected. What exactly is making them to connect and disconnect with each other?
The connection probably is what we've just said about the similar goals, interests. The reasons why disconnection might happen is probably a vast number, but probably the few that I can think of off the top of my head is possibly the location. They might have lived in a location very close by together, like geographically, and then one of them might move away, and that might make it difficult for them to continue on with their friendship, or if it was their partner, it might put a strain on it. And over time, distance can make things a bit difficult in terms of that. So that might be a reason why they kind of disconnected. Another kind of aspect of disconnection is, I might be on a certain path and have a certain goal, and then I might obtain that goal and go for a different one, or I might change my way of thinking, and that person that I'm friends with, they might not see that goal, or they might not be as interested in that, and so over time they might sort of veer away from me a bit because they're not as interested in that as me, and they're doing their own thing and I'm doing my own thing. So sometimes it's not as black and white as, right, we're connected and now we're disconnected. It might just sort of happen gradually over time, or there might be sort of something that really kickstarts it, and then that's it. It sort of breaks away because of something more that I wouldn't be able to say directly exactly what that would be, but some things happen that just unfortunately cause a friendship to no longer connect.
Why verbal violence and physical violence?
You want to say that one more time?
Why verbal violence and physical violence?
What about verbal and physical violence?
Yeah, why between humans?
Why is it within humans?
Yeah, why it happens between humans, the verbal and the physical violence?
I think that's a difficult one. I mean, it stems from a lot of things. I mean, upbringing can be a factor towards that. Genetics can also play a part in it. But as to why somebody is verbally abusive or physically abusive, some people say that it's innate, so it's just within them. Other people say that it's been caused by, some sort of trauma within their early childhood, and that might have stemmed further down the line when they become an adult. That's how they perceive the world, and that's how they believe things are supposed to be. So I think that's not really my remit. I'm not really an expert in that sort of area of trauma, but I sort of try and push towards the positive psychology and reframing the mind in a positive way. But I think there's plenty of help groups out there that really can help with any physical or mental torture or abuse, that can give more clarification on that than myself, I think. So it might be worth just going forward with Googling something if you're not sure, going to a helpline.
As a psychologist, tell me, killing the people who is killing the people is correct or wrong?
Yeah, it is. It is wrong. It's not something that is legal. It's not right. So I think, like I said, this isn't really my remit. I'm more of a positive psychologist, so I focus on people's well-being and moving away from sort of the anxiety and depression and trying to retrain people's minds positivity and for just happiness, wellness, successful visions out there in life.
What actually you do to be positive all the time?
What do I do myself? So my kind of morning routine would be the affirmation. So setting myself up for the day, my gratitude journal. So what I'm grateful for. I usually try and set myself a little goal for the day. And then when I've done it, I give myself a tick. So I'm like, yes, I've done that. I've achieved that. I like to do a yoga practice in the morning as well, because I feel like that just kind of gets the body moving. It's low impact. It just gets me up and moving in the morning. And I really just try and eat a healthy diet. So I really try and have my 5 fruit and veg a day, lots of water, a lemon tea. So because what you put into your body is so important. You want to get that really good nutrients and really fuel up your body, because that ultimately fuels up your mind. And it's all encompassed, this well-being. It's not just right, it's physical, right, it's mental. It's both connected together. And when we're really, everyone talks about a healthy lifestyle these days, but it is so true. It is so important, getting that exercise in, eating the right foods, and just taking care of yourself, having that self-care, and sometimes setting those boundaries. So for example, if you want to really focus on something, and for example, your friends say, come on, let's go out, let's do something, and you're saying, no, I really want to focus on this, they need to respect that you're focusing on your goals. So setting yourself some boundaries is also really key and really healthy, to make sure that you're focusing on yourself and maintaining your goals as well.
So why one person's constructive thoughts are destructive thoughts for others?
We'll say that one more time, please.
Why one human being's thoughts are constructive, destructive thoughts for other. I mean, one human being's constructive thoughts are destructive thoughts for other human being. Why?
Why? Because I might have a certain goal and a certain ambition and drive, and that might trigger somebody else who maybe wants that but can't quite obtain it. And it might cause them destructive thoughts, because they might feel like they can't reach that goal that I'm going for, and so it might make them feel uncomfortable or sort of sad. So this is really where you need to be careful on what you say to others and really try and boost up other people. It takes literally 30 seconds to say to someone, I think you're doing a really good job, or you're looking amazing today, or just a really simple compliment can actually really change somebody's day or life, really, because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And I think, for example, with yourself, you're connecting with so many different people, and it's so amazing to see all these connections you've made and all these different people you've managed to connect with and share their stories. I think that's great. We need people like that to share positivity and share all these different amazing stories that they've got to tell. So I think you're doing a really good job. So well done.
So, are you good in converting debate into discussion?
I think so. I like to think so. I think I'm a very tolerant person. I think I can discuss my viewpoint, but I've never forced it upon anybody. I would say how I feel and then let other people decide and make their own judgments for themselves.
Do you get angry?
Do I get angry? I do. I think that everybody experiences all different emotions. So you can experience the highs and the lows of them, shall we say. So of course I get angry. I'm human. But I try to channel that, and I mean, sometimes when I'm angry, I'll go out for a run and use that sort of endorphins, use that energy to just sort of get it out that way. Or sometimes I'll just write in my journal how I'm feeling, and again just expressing it, because I think it's better to do that in a healthy, safe environment, rather than, you know, taking out on somebody else or bottling it up inside, because, you know, those sorts of emotions, if they, you know, it's like a water bottle. They can only fill so high, and then bam, the lid will explode at some point. So it's better to get it out in a healthy way. So I would advise, you know, sort of writing it down, or going out and doing some sort of exercise. That really helps, just sort of calm your nerves and put yourself back to sort of a neutral state, because we are human. We are going to feel different emotions of sadness, happiness, anger. It's a reality of life. Nobody ever escapes that. And like I said to you before, yes, I'm a positive psychologist, and that is my thinking of training the mind to be positive. But I do have days where, you know, I'm sad or angry. I'm not immune to it. I just always try to think about, well, what's the learning in this? What am I going to learn from it? How can I retrain my mind? That's the key to it, really.
Do you know God's psychology?
Do I know what psychology?
God's psychology.
No, I don't know this.
The creator psychology. Have you ever thought that, you know, the nature, watching all these things, the humanity, the humans, and all the animals, the things, the creatures in the nature, have you ever thought that there is some force, you know, that has a psychology?
Ooh. I'd say I wouldn't really give a religious standpoint on this, but I think that we do have a beautiful world, and I think that the universe is an amazing thing. And whether, you know, that's God or science, I'll let the people decide that. But what we can all probably agree on is that we do have a beautiful world. You know, we are very, very lucky to have all the, you know, trees and nature and the sea and animals. You know, we've got beautiful things around us. And so I think we can all be very appreciative of what we do have, and we need to look after it. You know, we do really need to look after the environment and the planet. We can't keep going at the rate we are. We've got to do something now. We've got to look after it.
My last question is, do you understand animal psychology?
I have done a little bit. I've looked into a bit of animal behavior.
Okay. So you know how to communicate with them.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I like to think I've done a course on the animal behaviors, yes, and it is interesting. Obviously, you know, we have a higher cognitive function, so we're able to speak, whereas, you know, they can speak in their own language, I suppose, but it's a completely different cognitive mindset. But I do feel that animals do understand human behaviors and feelings. I do think that, and I think that's been proven. And there are such things as therapy dogs, and they're really good for helping people with certain conditions, whether that's physical or mental condition. They really can help nurture you. So I think animals are great, and I love them very much. I think we're very lucky to have such diverse range of them as well.
Do you have anything to say to the world who watches this video?
I would say follow your heart and follow your dreams and go for your goals, because you can do it, and just be happy and as positive as you can be. And together we can make this world a better place.
Nice.
Thank
Thank you so much
you.
for giving your time and
That's okay. That's okay. I hope this has helped you all. I've really
yeah.
enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for coming. And
That's
can I put
okay.
this video on
That's
my
okay.
YouTube channel?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again.
That's okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.